Welcome back to another episode of Cappuccino Chat. This time we're talking about whether you should use AI in your business or not. All right, so this time we're talking about the use of AI in our business like ChatGPT and others now. So one thing to keep in mind is artificial intelligence has made changes over the years and it's expanded what it's being used for, if you will. So we've all had, Amazon Alexa and Apple Siri now for years. So that is actually one form of AI. It's a very simple one where you ask it for information and it returns information to you. So is this still safe? Well, verdict's out. We personally don't care for it. Again, I don't think there's a way to really completely turn it off, but you can give it a shot. As both services are constantly listening. It's the only way it's going to work. So again, it's kind of like bugging yourself, right? So something Big Brother's always listening to you. That's why I don't know if you've ever noticed when you may be talking to someone about a hotel, a restaurant, a trip you're interested in doing, maybe getting a new car. All of a sudden, you'll start seeing ads on your phone, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those different things. All of a sudden, you'll start seeing ads, sometimes very specific as to exactly what you were talking about, start showing up. And that's because those services and the mics on those devices that you're constantly carrying are always listening. So this is a danger in your business. If you're discussing confidential information, proprietary information, it's one of those things where you need to be careful and be aware of, are any of those types of devices around and potentially listening to what's going on. Now, more lately here is with ChatGPT and some of the dangers and or benefits of using that within our business. So there are some pros and cons. One thing to keep in mind, and I'll start with the big con, is recently it was announced that ChatGPT was breached. In other words, their servers were breached by hackers. Usernames, passwords got out. We don't know yet, I don't believe, whether any additional data was leaked. So again, be very careful anytime you sign up for a new service on the internet. Use a very unique password for that service. Do not reuse or use a slightly modified version of another password that you're using elsewhere, because it can lead to dangers should that service experience a breach like ChatGPT did. Now, one of the other dangers with ChatGPT is it's only as good as the data it has access to. So like Alexa and Siri, it has full access to the internet and map data and stuff like that. So when you're driving, you can ask Siri or Alexa, hey, give me directions to the movie theater, and it will pull that up for you, right? ChatGPT has the same basic functionality. If you ask it a question, it can return the results based upon the data it's given. Where the danger comes in, and where even some big companies have now banned the use of ChatGPT, is again, because it can only give you an answer based on the data it has access to. Sometimes people were uploading confidential or business data into the system, so then ChatGPT could analyze the data or look at that data to give a proper answer. So for instance, let's say you wanted ChatGPT to balance your checkbook. Well, the only way ChatGPT would be able to balance your checkbook is if it had direct access to your checkbook, right? So you would have to give it access to your bank account or upload your latest, checks and stuff like that so that it can balance that out for you. So there's that danger. In a business, it gets a little more unique, as again, if you're asking it to maybe write an executive summary about something, it's going to need that data that goes with it that you want the executive summary about. It's not something that is typically out there in the public realm. So there's a danger of now giving that information to the AI engine, because if anything were to happen, that data would now be leaked. There was also some early things for some of the different AI engines, including ChatGPT, where things were cross-pollinating. So you would upload data for you, but when you would ask ChatGPT for information, it would not only look at your data, but other people's uploaded data that was proprietary to them. So how often was this possibly happening to you? So again, something to keep in mind when you're loading that. Now, some of the more benign ways or easy ways of doing stuff is, let's say you wanted it to write a paper or an executive summary, a web page. It's often used to write web page content. Maybe write a one-page flyer for marketing, write you a sales email. These are things that can be done, and it's very easy. But again, it's only as good as the data that it quickly accesses online and on the internet. As we all know, not all data on the internet is legitimate, truthful, accurate data. So you still need to analyze and review whatever the AI engine returns for you before you just post it and use it as is, as it may not be fully legitimate data that you really want to be referencing in your material, right? So yes, it's going to get you 80, 90% of the way there, but a human still should look at whatever is returned, modify that data, make it sound more like you. A lot of those engines will say, okay, what kind of tone do you want the writing to have? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to be serious? Those types of things. So yes, you can pick that, but you still want to make it sound like something you would say or your company would say before doing that. So in that sense, is something like that good to use? I would say yes. Again, it's going to help you perform your job. It'll help your employees perform their job and complete that task faster. But as long as you and the employee know to review that data for accuracy and to make it sure it sounds like your tone and overall messaging that you're trying to get out. Where it can become dangerous is when employees start to use it for doing their entire job. So again, you ask the employee to do something, they then just upload the data to ChatGPT or any other AI engine, get the information back and pass it to you. So you didn't hire the AI engine to do a job. You hired a person to do a job. So all depends on how you feel about that. Another thing to be wary of is some of that data that gets returned. I've talked to some people that have done asking it to do programming for it, like create some web page content, maybe do some actual programming, web development, those kinds of things. ChatGPT can generate that code. But again, if you or an employee is not familiar with what that code does or is doing and can't analyze that code, it could be putting in bad data or bad information or somehow stealing or redirecting your data to somewhere it shouldn't be going. So you still, again, want to be analyzing that before we start using that data in your business. So again, be very, very careful with the use of this. I would say when it comes to uploading data that's not public knowledge data, I would frown upon it just because, again, if anything ever happens, there's nothing you can do about it. Now your data is out there, right? So you may not want that information out there. Putting your accounting information out there, putting employee information out there. Let's say you wanted to analyze all the best health plan for your company. So you got to give it everybody's age and all this information. Now that data is up there and you're probably violating some kind of law about sharing that information. So be very, very careful when it comes to this stuff. Again, using it to help you perform a task, and then you're going to take what's done, maybe massage it a little bit, change it up, verify its accuracy, and then use it. I think that's perfectly fine. Again, that's going to help you get to where you're at. A lot of us aren't going to just off the cuff design that type of information, come up with that terminology. We're going to go to a book. We're going to go to a website anyhow. We're going to gather some notes, change it up to make it sound like us. That's really what the AI engine is doing. And if that's what you want to use it for, is getting you 80% of the way there just to make it faster for you, and then you're going to massage it and take it the rest of the way, I think that's perfectly fine. But I would be very, very careful about giving it data to make the results better. And then also when it comes to certain types of things like writing code or applications, you just have no idea what it may be placing in that code unless you are a coder. One of the examples again was someone asked for some code. They knew what they were doing. They got back this big long string of code. Yes, it accomplished the task, but it wasn't very well-written code. It was pretty dirty, so it needed to be cleaned up and he didn't use it. He just wanted to see what would happen with it. It was quite interesting. So again, be very careful with this AI stuff. It is where a lot of things are going. It can be helpful in getting you where you need to go, but it is dangerous. We're not Terminator level dangerous yet, but that's where they're starting to go with these things, with getting different robots ready and AI engines with access to that data. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns as it relates to AI or any other technology within your business, please reach out to us, 760-770-5200.